Hello there, survivors. Today we're doing a build tutorial for this pyramid I built on Scorched Earth in ARK Survival Ascended. And I tried my best to make it into a really cool looking pyramid and adding in some more detail than just having the normal triangle shape that we all know and love. I think I did a good job of adding a little bit of detail with the stairways into the pyramid, as well as the little balconies that I created. And of course, a lot of love to the new plants that we're able to place now. You do that with the DLC, the shovel and the plant pots. You can actually scoop up most plants and bushes around the world and just place them in your base that way, so you don't need any mods. But of course, there are also mods available to add in some other greenery if you wish. Now, if you enjoyed these tutorials and you want to see more, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and if you want to have early access to all the videos I upload, consider becoming a member. It's also currently the best way to support me. Tier 2 gets early access to every video I post. There will be an estimated list of the materials down below. It's based on what I used. Of course, it might change depending on your landscape, but it should get you close to what you need for this build. Let's get started. Okay, in order to get started, you want to lay down some foundations. Now, the way to do this, I've tried to make it as easy as possible, is to make a big square. And I like to use the middle lines, the two wide middle line, to kind of see if I'm still, aligned correctly and I didn't miscount anything. So it's a double middle, but if we take only one of the middle, it's 12 to the outside and then 12 again until you're on the first line of this middle. So in total, it's 24 by 24 on all sides. And then in the middle, we've got 2 sticking out on all sides. That's for the staircase. We'll be adding in the middle in a little bit. But this is the foundation that you should have. And then another thing you can notice is that my foundations aren't completely on the same layer. Especially if you want to build out in the dunes. That's going to be really tricky to find the right spot to fit this big of a build on the same foundation level. That is why if you're looking at the material list, it might vary with what you're gonna build. Well, we'll have the same amount of foundation because we'll still lay down. We'll fill everything in for foundations to have the support, but you'll probably have some ceilings over it to level it all out and making sure that the ground level of your pyramid is all the same. But the amount of ceilings you need, of course, depends on your landscape. So once you've built this entire shape, you can start filling it in with foundations everywhere to make sure that we've got the proper support. And once you've fully filled it all in with foundations, you probably will have some layers that are lower than the others. So what we do then is we take out some ceilings and we're just going to make sure that at least the main square is all going to be the same layer. Okay, so finally we should end up with a flat space like this, so a flat square that will be the bottom layer of our pyramid. Okay, then we want to start the first layer of the pyramid, and that's just going to be a normal wall raised up 1 from the foundation or ceiling level that we just created the flat square out of. So you're just going to go around. Now in some places this will be just this. Let's keep the middle 4 open, so both where the little addition is for the foundations, but also 2 next to it, because obviously that's going to be part of our staircase going up. And then we're just going to go all the way around the building, adding this little wall. Now in some places, of course, this is most likely going to be ending up a little bit higher than in others, depending on your landscape again. So for this was all very easy, but of course now we've reached the point where we weren't able to just use the foundations. So this is where we'll actually fill in this wall all the way down to the ground so that you have no gaps in your pyramid, and you do this all the way around. Okay, there we go. This is what you should end up with. And again, because of the height difference you might have in some places depending on where you'll be building your pyramid, this means that the total amount of walls that you'll use compared to the list that I provide might be slightly different. Now we're actually going to make all the corner pieces. We're going to take out the 2 walls that are right on the corner. We're going to extend our foundation just to have the extra support. And then we're going to make the little extra square shape on the side. And it's going to be 1 higher than the one that we made before. And you're going to want to extend these 2 walls. Don't have to do these because we won't be able to see them anyway. And then of course we're going to want to fill in the top here as well. And you probably want to do some pillars for support, for extra detail. Just because it looks a lot nicer having them around these. And then you also want to add in beams. Now if you're going to add plants to the top of this, like the plant pots that are now in the game, like I did over there, in some cases it's better to first place down the plant pots and then add in the beams, because for some reason it doesn't allow it always the other way around, especially for the bigger palm trees. Now of course we want to create this square on each of the corners of the pyramid. Okay, so eventually you should end up with this shape. We've got all the corners raised up and we got our walls in. And now what we want to do is go along these walls and add in the ceilings right here for that first little layer that I used to have my plants on. And after that, we can actually start the proper pyramid. So you want to go all around and connect it up to everywhere where we have the walls. So we'll leave the gap as we did with the walls as well, and just connect them all the way until you reach the corners, and then we'll just continue on the other side of the corner again. But leave the gaps for the middle, because again, that's where the staircase is going to be. The detail to make sure that it's not just like one big triangle going up, one flat pyramid. But we want to have that little bit of extra detail with the staircase design, just to add a little bit more layers, a little bit more depth to the entire build. Okay, now we should have something like this, and this is where the proper pyramid can start. We can start with a corner piece right here, and of course make sure to flip it so that the texture that's normally on the inside of the roof is now on the outside. And then we can connect our normal roof bit to it as well. And as before, we're gonna leave the space open where the staircase is going to be. And this entire first bit of the pyramid is going to be 3 high. So you kind of want to just go around, fill in all these roof textures. Well, the good thing is it's quite easy to build, even in survival, because of course you'll still be able to walk up on your own build all the time, since it is a pyramid after all. And then we just do the corner, and again, we'll continue our roof laying right along this way for all of these 3 layers. Which is where we'll have the next little balcony for another layer of plants if you want to, or just to break up the pattern and making sure that we have a little bit more of an interesting look to our pyramid. So this corner we want to do for the other corners as well. Okay, so after that we should end up with something looking like this. And this is where we're going to add in the next layer where the entrances is actually going to be. And maybe you've guessed it, the next step we're going to take is adding in a layer of ceilings all along here. And we can actually also extend through the gap that we had for the staircase, because this is where the main entrance are going to be located at. So we're just going to go all the way around, finishing off this square with a layer of ceiling, which will be both the balconies for more plants if you want to, or just for another break in the pattern, but also for the main entrances. Okay, and once you've gone all the way around, you actually want to go here to the middle, extend them to at the front and at the back, so that we have a little platform for where the actual entrance is going to be and the staircase is going to connect. And for the tutorial, I'm going to do that on all sides. This is, of course, if you want to have the entrance on all sides. Maybe you'd rather have only an entrance on one side to keep a little bit more space on the inside. What I would do in that case, I would only have the one place where you can actually enter, and on the other layers I would probably just close this in as a normal wall, but I would probably still have the shape to it, just to have the little change in design, the extra depth to the build. And maybe you can have some hidden walls in these so that you could still access these platforms or something like that. But for now we're going to keep it simple by doing the same things on all different sides. Now we can actually get started here with the staircase by going 3 staircases down, just like so. And then we can extend it by 2 ceilings. So this should line up perfectly with the little foundation extension that we made at the beginning, just so that it's all completely supported. And of course, then we can continue our staircase going down, and this will probably depend on your landscape, whether it's 2 or maybe more in some of the other sides where it might be higher. Now, of course, we want to add in this staircase on all of the different sides. Okay, and if you've made all those, we can actually add in our gateways right on the edge of the platforms we created. And we'll do that on all sides, just so that we know the size and shape as a little indication point of where it's going to be. Now we actually also want to add in a layer of quarter ceilings around the edge of the little walkway we created with the normal ceilings. So we want to go all the way around and fill that in as well. And of course, whenever you run into the middle platform, you just skip those and you continue on the other side of the platform, filling in these quarter walls, or quarter ceilings, I should say. Then we'll take out a wall and we'll start right in line with where the pyramid ended. We'll go all the way up to the corner. You'll see there will be a little gap left, so we'll place some quarter walls there. We'll do the same here on the other side, and then we can continue our normal wall the same way until we line it up again with this side, so we have basically a one gap between that and the middle platform. And of course, we want to go around the entire pyramid and do this on all the different sides. And there we go. Then we should end up with something looking like this, and we'll actually add a pillar to the corners of all of these walls we've just created. Okay, then we want to take out our quarter ceilings again, and we want to create a little ledge around the wall that we've just built, like so. And again, we'll continue this all the way except for the gap that we have where the gates are. Just wherever you have the wall, basically you connect this little ledge to it to create the right points again to connect the next layer of the pyramid to. So let's go around and place this ledge everywhere. So then you should end up with something looking like this. Looks a little bit strange, but it will all make sense in a little bit. We'll actually take out some pillars and we'll connect them right here to the edge of the quarter ceilings. And we'll do that for a few more times, only not on the end of this little structure we created. So we'll do that on this side as well. And then on here, we actually want to create a little beam with these adobe beams all the way around, just to end off this ledge with. So make sure that you do not add the pillar right there on the edge, but for the rest of it, we'll create these little columns which add a nice little bit of detail, whether you add the plants to it or you just leave it like this. Now, of course, we want to do this for all the corners. And then it's time to add the next layer of the pyramid. So we want to snap our next layer right here to this edge, because basically what happened is that we removed a layer here and we continue it right over here. And again, we want to make this go up 3 total roofs before we do something different on top. And then we can just extend this all the way, of course, until we hit our corners and then fill those in as well, just as we did before. Basically, this is definitely the easy part, which means you can get making progress really quickly, because yeah, we go up quite a bit without having to do a lot of work. So you should end up with a corner like this. And of course, you probably guessed it, we have to do this for all of the other corners as well. Okay, there we go. So we should end up with a shape like this. And this is actually where everything is going to start connecting again. So we probably want to start with filling in these corners. And then we can finally make a connecting layer with the roofs like so. And then we can basically fill in the rest of the pyramid. So for the roofs, it's just meaning that we have to leave one out on the outside every time we go up. You want to end this with 2 of the adobe roofs next to each other, because the top is going to be slightly different again. So now we're just going to go around filling in these corners and slowly but surely finishing the shape of the pyramid. So now for the other sides, it's basically doing the same of what we've just done on that first side. So we'll just go around and fill in this entire shape until we reach that top over there. And then of course we want to make sure that we do the top as well. We'll add in a layer of beams going all around the top of these roofs. And then we pick up our greenhouse roof corner so that we can have the tip of the pyramid being a window, being from greenhouse glass, so that you get a little bit of extra light inside of your pyramid. And that means that we finally have the shape of the pyramid down. We just need to finish the details with the stairs and of course start on the inside. And you actually want to start out by going here with some ceilings. I like to flip them around so that the texture lines up a little bit better with the one that we have on the roof. And you want to basically make this little platform from 2 platforms by 4. Then we'll add some walls to this, but I like to flip them around for a different texture here on the front because I just think that looks a little bit nicer. And then this is where the real shape comes into the build. So we want to start with some roofs. We'll have 2 going down from each sides. That will connect to another ceiling, again flipped upside down so that the lines continue on the top of this shape. And then we can go back to our roof again and basically just make it go all the way down to where our build ends. So we're just going to take it all the way up into the ground. Of course, that depends on your landscape, but you just want to take it all the way down past the staircase that we have in the middle of it. So it should look something like this once we've got that all in place. And now it's time to start filling in the sides of this whole structure, making it all look nice and really finishing this shape that we've created in our pyramid. We'll start here with the pretty easy bit. We'll have some sloped walls going in like that, going in like there, and then a normal wall to fill in that last little gap over there. And we can also do the same thing on the other side as well. So we'll start with the sloped ones to fill in those gaps, and then we have a normal wall right in there to fill out the last little bit of this staircase that's protruding from the shape we've created. And as a way to finish off this staircase nicely, we want to add in some quarter walls here first so that we can snap our pillars to that. And we'll do the same here on the other side as well. And then you can actually remove these quarter walls again because the pillars should stay if you place them correctly. And then we can have some railing in between, you know, just to add that little bit of extra detail to this end of the staircase. So it's only for this part that we have the railing in place. Then we can actually go up to this. Then we can actually go up to the staircase and we can start filling in a little bit of the shape right here with some of these sloped walls just alongside the stairs to kind of fill in the sides of it. And that is the railing for the staircase for the rest of this part. So you'll have structure going like this. And here on the other side we also want to start by adding in our sloped walls to follow the shape of the pyramid at first. And then we actually want to have another layer of slope walls following the shape of the roofs that we have above to, you know, the railing basically for our staircase. You can have that going all the way through. Sometimes for the last little bit you won't be allowed to place it down, unfortunately. Even with collisions on, it won't allow it if it's too deep into the ground. So there's nothing really we can do there besides leaving it like this. And you want to fill in the remaining bit with some normal walls and slope walls just to fill out the rest of the shape. And then here what you might want to do is either you can just have normal wall here, or you can have a secret doorway. You can do the same on this side if you still want to be able to access the balconies. Now that depends on what you want to do with this, because if you're going to add plants like I did before, you're probably not going to be able to pass through all the plants anyway. But just in case you want to, you can have these secret doorways there. You can fill in the rest of the shape with walls. I have a little gap left there on that side, so we'll leave that for now. So yeah, just pick whatever you want, and here you can just have 3 walls next to each other to fill in this part of the shape. Here we'll have the normal walls or the secret door if you really want to be able to access these. And then we can add the quarter walls to the corner there so that we fill in that last remaining bit as well. And then of course we'll continue here with some slope walls, filling in the rest of this shape right like this. And then we'll do the same thing here on this side, of course, because we want to make sure that it all connects up and it's all filled in. So just follow the diagonal shapes with the slope walls until you have everything completely filled in and looking something like this. And then of course here we'll fill in another wall to finish off this side as well. And then basically we have most of the shape complete. Now for this I actually like to add in a couple of pillars like so here on the corners and some beams going along the whole shape, the kind of shape protruding from the pyramid. And then to complete it, you want to add in a layer of beams right there as well. And then if you're allowed to, I would add in the pillars here. It doesn't add that much, but just, you know, little bits. I know it's there. It's now better supported, I suppose. And that is basically the way you add these stairs in and the little detail. And of course you want to be able to do that on all of the different sides. Okay, with that done on all sides, it's really starting to look like a proper pyramid. And we're just going to add in some extra railings alongside these little platform balconies that we've created. So along this side and also on this height as well. Just to add in a little bit of safety, but also just more detail, to be honest. And especially once the plants have been added, as if you're going to do that, it will look very, very nice indeed. And of course, you want to do this all the way around the pyramid on all the different sides. Okay, and that is pretty much the outside of the pyramid done. So yeah, this is how you build the pyramid. But if you want a little bit of insight of how I've done the interior, I'll show you a little bit of that as well. First off, of course, we want to make sure that we can use the base. So we'll add in a staircase going down from the gates. Speaking of the gates, of course, we also want to make sure that we actually fill them in with the proper gates so we can use them. So the staircase just goes down and it gives you access to the base. If you add them on all sides, it will, of course, create like a little square where you enter, but you still have all the corners for your extra space everywhere. Now, one thing I don't particularly like is the texture of the inside of the adobe, because now we have all these weird tiles on the inside of our pyramid. So if you want to combat that, we actually can by lining up another layer of roof. So we have this little edge here, which allows us, what we can do is start filling in another layer of roofs, basically from this snap point. So the quarter walls, we can get the right one to make another corner. So there's like a quarter between the two roof types. And then you can just start filling this all in. We'll leave a little bit of space around the main gate. But yeah, this is how you can just create the same look that we have on the outside, on the inside as well. And I think, personally, this looks a lot better. Like, it looks a lot more like a pyramid if you keep these vibes going on. It does create a lot of extra work. And then especially in survival, this is going to be quite tricky to pull off, of course, placing all these down. You'll have to build a bunch of scaffolding. But in the end, it will make it look a lot better. So you'll have to go around all the way, filling this all in. We'll do this side first, so you can kind of see what to do. And then eventually, of course, you're going to end up at the top here, where we have our little windows. So right there is the last one we'll place, of course. And then what we can do is we take out the quarter ceilings and we can just fill in a little lip around here like this, so that we still have the nice design. And then you could even add in some more beams to make it look even nicer. So that is one side filled in, at least the top part of it. Of course, we have to do some work here around the gate. For the integration, it's best to start with the little edge around the staircase that we want to create. Again, we want to end it right there, because otherwise it's going to interfere with the other staircases if you end up building all four. So we'll just want to have the edge like this going along the staircase. Again, we'll add this little lip with the flipped roofs just to create the little edge railing for the stairs. Actually, you want to make sure that you cut this off right before the end. So we'll have to end them right there, because otherwise you can't access the corners of your pyramid with all the stairs. So you want to basically make sure that you have one from the end of the staircase, because otherwise you can't leave this little square in the middle. And then to continue this pyramid look, we want to get this snap point. So with the quarter walls we have going on right there, and we can just continue this all the way through behind the staircase as well, so that we have this going on. And of course, again, we can start filling this in all the way until we reach the bottom of our structure, and this just ensures that you have the nice look. Now you do lose a little bit of space, so if you need it, of course, you can probably build some little hidden entrances to this weird space that we have left. But yeah, you just have to make sure that you find a way to make it look nice, I guess. But this is the best way to get this same texture that we have on the outside, on the inside as well, and not the weird roof tiles instead, because of course that looks a little bit strange. There we go. So that is what you end up with. And then of course you can start adding in the corner pieces to basically repeat the same process on all different sides. But you can already see that this is starting to look like a proper normal build, and we'll do the same thing here on the other side, of course, creating all the little corners. And then we just have to fix this last little part around the stairs, and of course finish the staircase before we repeat this process everywhere. Now you should be able just to fill in this with some normal ceilings, just to get this first pit started. And then what you probably want to do is grab some of your quarter walls and add them in right alongside the gate like this. And then what we want to do, we grab our slope walls, we'll place them like so alongside the roof that we have over here. We'll grab more roofs right here to fill in this part, and then we'll end this with some quarter ceilings as well to fill that in. And then here we'll have more of our quarter walls to fill in that little bit, and then you should end up with a finished shape. It's not the best solution, but it's the best way to get this texture on the inside as well. Now we've got that filled in, we also of course want to make sure that we finish this stair structure. So we want to just start by filling in all of these. Then we can have this little bit filled in like so. We'll have some quarter walls right there to connect to the wall that we have up there, and some normal walls right up here. So we'll do the same over here on the other side, just fill it in like this. Then we have the staircase, of course. Here we want to at least fill in these sides so that we don't see underneath the stairs. That is pretty much everything that you need to do here on the front. Probably maybe add in some railings to the last little bit here. That is the staircase done from this side. And then to make it look good from the other side, what I would personally do is grab another layer of these roofs flipped like this, and just place them like so until you have that last little gap left. And that is where you will fill it in with some quarter ceilings. It's a little bit dark in here. This is definitely the dodgy corners of the build. Now then we can add in another wall right here. You could also add in some secret walls if you want to use this little bit of room for some extra storage, for example. Then we can grab our sloped walls and start filling in this shape like so. Let's do that on the both sides. Then we can grab our roofs to fill in this part as well, just to finish that shape and close off this little ledge that we've created like so. And that means that we can add in another wall here to fill in this part. We also should be able to snap or slope walls like this to fill in this over here. Then we're almost done. All we need to do is basically do some quarter walls right there. We should be able to snap another slope wall right there to fill in that space. And then you can have some other quarter ceilings to fill in the rest of the railing that we've created over here. The same on the other side, of course, filling in this shape like so, just so that you can't really see the ugly underside of the staircase. So it should end up looking something like this. And then, of course, if you want to have this look for everywhere, you repeat this for the other 3 sides as well. And that basically means you're done with the entire build. Once you've replicated this, of course. And eventually, if you do all sides, you end up with something looking like this. And yeah, I'd say it's pretty nice pyramid. Of course, you could also opt out of having the staircases on all sides if you want even more space. But to be fair, you still have plenty of space in all of these corners. Now, depending on your landscape, you might have like very steep walls on some sides. So what I did on the other one is after 2 walls here on the first layer, just add in another layer of these roofs to add a bit more shape to it. Of course, it's up to you whether you want to do it, and it's also very dependent on your landscape, because as you can see right here, probably not very necessary right there, because it's just a very tiny little edge that we have visible, and I don't think it's even worth doing on any of the other sides. But maybe you have like a very steep hill on one side, then you might want to do it. Like over here, it was a little bit more, so I decided to add that in to just keep the shape of the pyramid going. Okay, then it's time for a little tour of the finished product. So first off, this is what my version looks like, of course. Many of you have been asking about these plans. No, these are not from mods. This is all normal in ARK. You just need the new DLC. You can get the shovel and the plant pots from that. And with those, you can go around and go to any bush and some smaller trees and basically scoop them up with the shovel into a plant pot. And afterwards, you can place them down as decoration. So it's a really cool new way to add a lot of life and, in this case, a bunch of greenery to your base. And I especially love these little palm trees that I was able to scoop up, because they do add a lot to the build. So that's how you get those, but you do need DLC, of course, to be able to use the shovel and the plant pots, unfortunately. But yeah, they are a great addition. If you don't have those and you do have mods, you can probably get some mods to place plants down if you don't want to get the DLC. But yeah, this is what it looks like. I think the greenery, especially the plants and stuff, they really add a lot to the build. They really make it a lot cooler than it is without. But of course, you can still use it without as well. And yeah, I think it's a pretty nifty design. I'm quite happy with it, and I love the reactions you had to the pyramids. So I tried to get this tutorial out there as quickly as I could. This is the inside. I think we did it slightly better on the version of the tutorial. But yeah, you have a lot of space in these corners. I haven't done any interior yet, so I'm excited to see what you come up with if you do build it. And if you build it and you do some interior, please share some screenshots with me on Twitter or join my Discord and share them over there. But yeah, this is what you should end up with, and I think it's a really cool base design, especially if you make like a bigger base out of it. I can imagine like maybe having a couple of pyramids, maybe even a bigger one to house your dinos or something like that. I think that could be a really cool base design here in Scorched Earth. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel to see more cool builds and more builds tutorials. And then hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.